Hello everyone, this is page 2 of chapter 10. For this page, we really wanted to go ahead and design this to give you some multiple choice practice. Since the test is multiple choice for the 4th 9 weeks and the exam is multiple choice, we thought that this was a good way to take problems that you've done and concepts that you've done and turn them into multiple choice in order to also get to offer some multiple choice test taking strategies. And so this problem is actually very similar to one that we've already done. It says, what is the value of x? And the first thing I notice is that this line right here is a diameter and it is perpendicular to this chord. And so whenever you have a diameter, which is perpendicular to a chord, or a radius that is perpendicular to a chord, that means that it cuts it in half, it bisects. It's a perpendicular bisector. So I can copy the 5 on this side as well. And then I've got this right triangle. Now this is going to be a right angle right here as well. And so with the piece 5, and we're looking for x, and then the 3, that is a right triangle, and I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So we know that that's going to be 3 squared plus 5 squared is equal to my hypotenuse, which is x squared. And so when you do that, you're going to get, that is going to be 3 squared plus 5 squared is the square root of 34. It's going to be equal to the square root of 34. When you take the square root of 34, it doesn't have it written as the radical answer. It has it written as the decimal answer. That is going to be about 5.83. So that is going to be E. So this was done in, they approximated the decimal. They could have left it as the square root of 34 as well. All right, so now we have an inscribed angle. How do I know that it's inscribed? Because it doesn't go to the center. Point B is on the circle. And so we know that the relationship between the inscribed angle and the intercepted arc is that this angle x is going to be exactly half of 178. So it's going to be 178 divided by 2. Now, the first thing I want you to do is notice that they put 178 as an answer. Many people that think that this is a central angle might just very quickly choose that answer. What we need to do, since it's inscribed, is divide that by 2. So that's going to give me 89. So that's going to be C. So it can be tricky, especially if you're going fast. A lot of people will just copy down, oh, it's 178, but that's not central, it is inscribed. Same thing for this next problem. This is an inscribed angle, 20 degrees. We want to find the measure of arc AB, that's central, or this intercepted arc. And so if the inscribed angle is 20, notice they do put that as an option. It is not 20 though, it's going to be double 20. We're going to take 20, we're going to multiply it by 2. 20 times 2 is going to give me 40, which is D. So this is just really good multiple choice practice, and it helps you not get distracted by the other answers that are on there. All right, we want to find the values of A and B. Well, B is an inscribed angle, 25 is an inscribed angle, and both of those inscribed angles open up to arc A. And so if we have two inscribed angles that open up to the same arc, we know about those two inscribed angles, they must be congruent. So if this angle is 25, A is going to be equal to 25 times 2. What is 25 times 2? It's 50. And so A is going to be equal to 50. And then what is B? It's going to be congruent to the 25 because it's 50 divided by 2. B is going to be equal to 50 divided by 2, which of course, that's going to make that 25. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find where A is 50 and B is 25. Where A is 50 and B is 25 should be C. But notice they do give an option where, I don't know if they actually do, where A is 25 and B is 50, they do. So this, if you're going quick, that could be distractor information. So don't be distracted by that answer. All right, so that was C. All right, now we want to find the measure of angle 1. Well, there is a formula for this that says when you have this angle and these two arcs that get intercepted by this angle, so that's angle 1 is what we're looking for. We know that angle 1 is going to be equal to the average of these two arcs. So we add them together and divide by 2. So that is going to be half of 190. Well, what is half of 190? That is going to give me 95. So that's going to be C for this answer. So we add them together and divide by 2. Whenever those two secant lines cross on the inside, it creates an angle that is half of the intercepted arcs. All right, now this one's a little bit tricky. I've already helped a few students on this problem. It says E to F is 6x plus 12. We need to figure out where to put that. Is that this E to F or is that this E to F? Well, it is 2 letters, which means that that is a minor arc because it's only 2 letters. So when I fill that in, that is actually going to be this piece. So E to F is going to be 6x plus 12. And so I know that 72 times 2 should be equal to 6x plus 12. Another way to do that is just to go ahead and double it. What is 72 times 2? That is 144. So I'm going to set that equal to. So 144 is going to be equal to 6x plus 12. then we get, when we go to do this math, we go ahead and get the 6x on one side by itself. So we're going to do 144 minus 12. Of course, gives me 132. And I divide by 6 to get x by itself. And I believe I get 22. Did they want to find x? They did. So they didn't want me to actually go back and find the arc. They just wanted what x was. So that would be A, would be my answer on this problem. All right, now we want to find the measure of angle 1. So this is a secant line crossing a secant line, but they cross on the outside. So remember that relationship is where you do the big arc minus the small arc divided by 2. So outside angle, angle 1, is going to be equal to the big arc, 86 degrees, minus the smaller arc, 22 degrees, divided by 2. So big minus small divided by 2. And so when you do 86 minus 22, you get 64, and then we divide that by 2. And that is going to give me 32 degrees. They did want to find that angle, so that's going to be 32 degrees. So number 29 is B. All right, now number 30. The first thing I notice on number 30 is that I have a quadrilateral that is inscribed on a circle, meaning all of its vertices are on the circle. And so remember that we learned a theorem that said the opposite angles of a quadrilateral inscribed on a circle add up to 180. So x plus 75 equals 180. And then we also know that 80 plus y equals 180. So y is equal to 100 and x is equal to 105. So make sure you find the right one. X is 105, y is 100. That should be B. Notice that they kind of have the reverse on there as well, so you can get distracted by that very quickly. A lot of these are very close to each other, so make sure you're paying attention to the problem and how the answers are listed. All right, so a few more circle problems. It wants to find the value of x. Well, this is an inscribed angle. We know that this arc is going to be double the angle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 times the blue. 2 times 7x minus 5 should be equal to 12x plus 10. So we'd use the distributive property. We'd get 14x minus 10 equals 12x plus 10. And we're going to get 2x equals 20. What is x? 10. Now make sure you underline what they're asking for. They don't ask you to find the arc. They don't ask you to find the angle. They only want the value of x. So x is 10. The way that they could make this a little bit harder is they could actually ask you to go back and find, plug it in and find the arc, or ask you to go back and plug it in and find the angle. So I like to underline what's being asked. So what's being asked in number 32, the measure of angle 1. This is an inscribed angle still. It is going to be half of this intercepted arc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 170 and I'm going to divide it by 2. And when I do that, I'm going to get 85 degrees. That's going to be B. Make sure you answered the question. We wanted to find the measure of angle 1. That's what we just found. All right, now they want arc AB. So we still have the intercepted arc is what we're looking for this time, but we have the inscribed angle. So I'm going to take 70 and I'm going to multiply that 70 times 2. That is going to give me 140 for arc AB. So it's going to be C. And we did find what they were looking for. Okay, this question, number 34, makes it a teeny tiny bit harder because what we've got is we've got our inscribed angle is 58. We can find this arc by doubling 58. So what is 58 doubled? 58 times 2 is going to give me 116. If that's 116, what is the rest of this circle? Well, what is 360 minus 116? We're going to do 360 minus 116 is going to give me 244 for this blue part. So we wanted that arc ABC, 244. Something I do want you to notice is since we wanted to find the measure of arc ABC, we knew that it was either 180 or bigger. So we could have gone ahead and crossed out 58 and 122 and 29 and 116 simply because we know that for arcs, if you use 3 or more letters, it has to be 180 degrees or more. So you could have gotten this question right with having no idea how to do all the math, simply knowing that because it had 3 letters on it, we wanted to find these 3, simply knowing that that had to be more than 180. And even if they weren't, even if it didn't give you your final answer, you could have at least used process of elimination and narrowed that down. All right, this next problem, very similar to what we've already done. This is an inscribed angle. Here's my intercepted arc. This blue angle is going to be doubled. So if you do 2 times 3x plus 15, that should be equal to 7x plus 15. Use some distributive property. That's going to be 6x plus 30 equals 7x plus 15. We get our x's on the same side and our variables on the same side. Find the value of x. It should be 15. So D should be 35 should be D. All right, just a few more. What is the standard form of the equation with center 3, -2? So that's my H, that's my K, and a radius of 4. So R is equal to 4. Remember when we plug those in that we switch the sign. So X minus H plus Y minus K for H and K, because it has the minus sign in front of it. And that's going to be equal to R squared. So let's do this first, even if you got confused by the switching the signs. What is 4 squared? 4 squared is going to give me 16. So let's go ahead and cross out the one that does not have 16 as the radius. So then process of elimination, a lot of people miss this on test day because they were like, oh, 3, -2, and they find the 3 and the -2. The problem is that the formula has the signs flipped. And so it should be, when you go to plug that in the formula, it's going to switch those signs to be -3, +2. So 36 is going to be D. 36 is going to be D. When I plug in my H and K, the signs switch because of that minus sign. So when you have X minus 3 squared plus Y minus a -2 squared, that turns into a positive. All right, what is the center of this circle? So this is done on a graph. So here's the origin, which means that my center is at the point 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. My center is at the point 3, 4, and I've got a radius, it looks like, of 2. And so the first thing I'm going to do is cross out where it says radius of 4. We want to find the center of the circle and the radius, not the equation of the circle, but just the center and the radius. And so we already found it. It's 3, 4, and the radius is 2. So that's going to be C. Of course, if I were to put this in the equation, that would switch to X minus 3 squared plus Y minus 4 squared equals 4. All right, what is the equation of this circle above? Okay, so perfect. So this is just a continuation. This says, hey, give me the actual equation. And so when we do that, it switches. It becomes X minus 3 squared plus Y minus 4 squared. Those switch. That's equal to 2 squared. Well, what is 2 squared is 4. And so I'm going to go ahead and cross out the ones that say 2. And then which one has the proper signs with the sign switch? That would be D. So that is our chapter 10. So we had some multiple choice practice. We also had where you had to do it on your own. Remember that the test will be multiple choice. So this is page 2 of chapter 10 for the 4th NMICS review.